Hi, welcome to a new episode of Sportsy Let's Aim Sports. Today we have with us Vivek Singh, Joint Managing Director of Procam International. Procam International, founded in 1988 by two brothers, Anil Singh and Vivek Singh. Procam International is committed to elevate and enlive the professional face of sports and players with an open, transparent culture founded on an unshakable core of integrity. Procam International is a true pioneer when it comes to sports management. They are India's leading sports promoter. Since its inception in 1988, it has been the driving force behind the growth and development of sports management in India. Envisioned by the founder Anil and Vivek Singh, Procam is involved in the holistic sports management, sports consultancy, and live television production. So please welcome the promoter of Mumbai Marathon, Delhi Marathon, Bangalore Marathon, Kolkata Marathon, the man who crafted India's marathon culture and made India run, co-founder of Procam International, Vivek Singh. Hi, Vivek. It is great to have you here. It's my pleasure to host you. And for the reason that is I have stated earlier as well, is the probably you and Anil are the guys I met first 9 years back before I started my career in sports and got that management dose from both of you. And I think that is the true MBA that I did sitting in that Marine Drive office. And that's why today it's a different pleasure for me to host you here. Thank you for taking the invitation.
Sid, thank you so much. It's so good to be back in touch with you. And after our brief talk, it's fantastic how you followed your heart. You truly followed your heart, and absolutely kudos to you. Pleasure to be here, Sid. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thank you for those guiding words. And I hope out of this chat today, the people who want to make careers in sports and want to follow their heart will get a lot of insights about from the guy who has made it happen for India, where nobody had even thought of sports management as a thing. So for our viewers and listeners, we have Vivek Singh, Joint Managing Director of Procam International. Everybody knows Procam International, who has taught India how to run. The founder and promoter of Mumbai Marathon, and then the many marathon that happened, but nobody knows the backstory about it. All started in 1988 between the two brothers came together and thought of something called sports management for India. So Vivek, first thing, just wanted to get, how did you actually think of Procam and sports management, and how did actually the whole running thing start, and why running?
All good questions. So 1988, my brother Anil actually, said that we need sports to be dealt with and approached in a more professional manner. It's very interesting, but sports was actually being done in a funny way by amateurs at that time. Even sponsorships, if you go to see, was being done in a way that if the chairman of a company liked a particular sport, then that sport got sponsorship. Now, even if it was a company that mass-produced soaps, where the chairman liked golf, then golf at that time, which was a pretty elitist sport, got sponsorship. So we decided that we would want to do 2-3 things at the base fundamental level. One is bring in a professionalism into the area, bring in an eye for detail, educate the corporate that a part of your advertising rupee should be given to sport and to sponsorship, and the return on investment from that rupee will go much further than your others. And also we wanted to very much ameliorate or improve the condition of sportsmen. It's a funny thing in life, we say good old days. But in India, the good old days for sport never existed. The good days are today.
Yeah.
Sports people, sports promoters had to struggle beyond what you can imagine in the past. There were no good old days of sport. The days for sport in India are now and in the last few years. So there's a big struggle. Sportsmen were not given their due recognition. Sportsmen were not given their due in many ways. I remember when we started tennis, 1989, we did the first Standard Chartered Summer Classic. And we did simple things, but we did them right. We put up our tennis participants at a 5-star hotel, the Hotel President in Mumbai. We put up a draw a day before. We gave them transportation from the hotel to their venue. These simple things we did, and you can't imagine the outpouring of joy and love. So many ways, it started with the thirst and the drive to actually ameliorate the condition of sportsmen, to ameliorate the standard of sporting events in India, and to make a difference to the sporting landscape. And 33 years later, we're in our 34th year. 34 years later, that founding spirit, which Anil and me had, is still intact. We keep pursuing dream. We keep challenging the status quo. We keep pushing the envelope. And I think that's what's been a magical journey. You know, when we come to the running segment, you'll tell me, it was something incomprehensible. So it's all about those pushing boundaries, going to uncomfortable areas and places, speaking the inconvenient truth, but actually making a difference to the sporting landscape of the country.
It sounds so amazing. As you said, there's no good old days, and the days are right now. And that's why whenever I get a chance, I speak to people that very few people can say that they got to work in the sunrise industry. And I think we are the lucky one to be part of the sunrise industry. Yes. And grow with it. But it this management jargon sounds so true right now, but 34 years back when you actually started, yes, I'm sure the people around you were calling you crazy that, okay, what is sports management and how are you going to get money from those people? So I think that belief system, I think started giving you results in the whole journey. Yes. So as you said, you started with the tennis tournament, and I read about that. But the whole revolution about Procam was happened with marathons, and that became the identity beyond a lot of other sports and other things that you're doing. So what got you? Because 83 is when actually the first ever marathon in India happened, right? The Pune Marathon was that happened in India. And then it took a lot of time before you actually gave the professionalism towards running. So what got you to that, and what made you think that you can make India run?
You know, before I even come to that, Sid, just to close the introduction, when you said, you know, you brought in the fact that sports management was not a science, was not a vertical, I'll just endorse that by saying that when we dreamt of this, when Anil dreamt of this, and we were together, and you know, I remember a conversation, a kind of a light conversation which he had with his father-in-law, and he was telling his father-in-law about this dream of putting up a sports management company, building world-class sporting events from India. So his father-in-law, you know, a wonderful man, comes from the old school of manufacturing, heard him out and said, "Beta, ye to bahut acha karne ja rahe ho. Aap ye to karne ja rahe ho jo bahut hi achhi cheez hai. Itna ye ke saath mein thoda sa kaam bhi kar lena." You know, so worried that this crazy guy has got these ideas. These two brothers are going to go into uncharted water. I don't know whether there'll be food on the table for my daughter. So yeah, so that was the kind of spirit and times that we came through. And then around the year 2000, Sid, we had this dream that look at what's happening in London, look at what's happening in New York, Berlin, look at what's happening in Boston is 125 years old. Said, why can't something happen in India, in Mumbai to start with, for example, where people come together irrespective of class, creed, gender, caste, or socio-economic category. Now listen, it does happen. It's not that we invented that wheel. It happened for example, the Ganesh festival. Yeah. It happens for many things. It happens for political rallies, socio-religious. But it doesn't really happen for a sporting platform where people of all kinds come together. And thus the idea and the spirit of the Mumbai Marathon was born. That can we bring this energy that we do see in a religious or a social festival into a sporting celebration. And we started in 2000 and people weren't willing to buy our dream. It wasn't easy. And every time we hear stories like, India doesn't run. What are you two guys doing? You guys are smoking something. We said, no, we're not smoking something. If India doesn't run, India should start running. It has many benefits. We used to actually write this line in our proposals, I remember. Running is the panacea for society's evils. And people must have laughed at us. So what do you mean by running is the panacea for society's evils? But we believed in that. And it took us a long time to actually find somebody, and we found a multinational company that could finally endorse our dream. And we were so excited, and we found that company. And then when we were coming to the closing stages of the negotiation, the company said, listen, we love what you guys do. We believe in what you guys do. But however, we want to start it at a particular level, maybe at a city level. Then we'll take it in a couple of years to a national level. And then we'll take it in a couple of years to an international level, but completely with you. And Sid, there's Anil and me looking at each other, and we're saying, man, this was a blue chip sponsor. And, you know, you did not want to let it, but this is not how we envisaged it. We did not envisage it at the city level, then at the national level, then at the international level. We said, we want world level from year one. And the company said, listen, it doesn't work like that. We'll hold your hand. But we said, no, you don't understand. If this dream is not given the legs that we want it to be given, people will not change their lifestyle. It will not create a wow effect. If it doesn't create a wow factor, it's not going to break any paradigms. And we let that company go.
Wow.
Till we found Standard Chartered Bank. And thus the first Standard Chartered Mumbai Marathon was born. And to re-emphasize that we were world-class, the first 2 years, the name was Standard Chartered Mumbai International Marathon, just so that people would know we're not doing something local.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. I got to run there 4 times. When I was running a lot, then I moved more focus to other sports. But yeah, I still run, but not at the marathon level. But I did those things, and it was wonderful. The atmosphere, the environment. I've done a lot of marathons across the world, but firstly, it was a pride to run in Mumbai Marathon, International Marathon, and then the whole environment, the last stretch around the Marine Drive, the start on the ceiling. I think those were the amazing parts that we got to experience. But so again, come back to the same point. What was the strategy and what belief that you had when you thought that India can run?
So Sid, actually, when we started this marathon, we never believed it would be an event. From day one, we treated it like a movement. So we put 5 seeds into the ground. The first seed was the event or this movement should bring pride and prestige to the host city, whichever host city it is. If it's Mumbai. There should be communal harmony at its heart. There should be health and fitness at its core. There should be charity all around, and it should be a boon to Indian athletics. We sowed these 5 seeds into the ground, Sid. When there was nothing on the ground that we could see, we just sowed the seeds and we said, no, these are the seeds that are going to be sown into our property. And we did the event from day one as a movement. What that means is that, you know, we're taught typically to cut your coat according to your cloth. That's how you should do business. And we did not cut our coat according to our cloth because we were not there for the business. We were there to create a movement. So we lost money year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. We lost money because we kept wanting to bring things in, do things. And it's only after that, when the sponsorships completely changed, when they realized what we were doing, did the marathon then break even, and etc. So what I'm trying to say is, we never treated this as an event with a specified P&L and a specified budget, and that's it. We go this far, no further. We never did that. And that's how this movement was born. Today, those 5 seeds are mighty oak trees. Charity, the biggest sporting charity platform in India, are the Procam Marathon events of Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, and Calcutta.
Seriously, it's so great to know, and believe me, one of the reasons that got me thinking was I was running and I saw Major DP Singh. No,
Yeah.
Blade Runner. And
India's Blade Runner. Yes.
yeah, he was running next to me, and I said, "Ki, what am I complaining for?" Uh, it changed my perspective about looking at things, and I think the seeds that you're talking about, I think charity and inclusiveness is something very, very fundamental to Procam international marathons. So, was that a very conscious, mindful thought as a foundation of the whole movement?
No question about it. It was, but even we had our limitations. I'll give you an example. 20 years ago, we did not envisage the people with disability, or what we call people with different abilities, participating. We said, man, there are enough challenges trying to make people run on the roads of Mumbai. Enough. We don't want to deal with this. And I got a call after the first event, a few months after the first, and I get a call from the then Sports Minister of India, Shri Sunil Dutt Sahib. And Sunil Dutt Sahib says, and the MOS, his private secretary online says, Mr. Vivek Singh. I said, yes. He says, Shri Sunil Dutt Sahib would like to speak to you. We all knew who he was. I take the phone. I said, Dutt Sahib, such a pleasure. He says, what a wonderful thing you've done. You brought the spirit. I was so happy. I was over the moon. He says, but I didn't see any people in wheelchairs or people with disability. So I said, that's up now. This is a marathon event. I've got to deal with the streets and the roads of Mumbai and the very, where am I going to? He says, no. Everybody must participate. That's how this is built.
Wow.
And I tell you, we went back to the drawing board and we actually incorporated the wheelchair category, which we now call champions with disability, into the marathon. And he came and flagged off the first event, which had the CWD. Today, it is so truly inclusive, it's not even funny. I'm getting pressure, and not pressure, not the right, I'm getting some pushback that have a transgender category, have a LGBTQ. Now there are so many alphabets attached that I don't even know, have an LGBTQ category. So I'm saying, yeah, okay, we'll deal with that. So yes, the whole spirit is the spirit of people.
Yeah.
And this is a platform, a sporting platform that captures the human race. It's not just a race, but it's a sporting platform that captures the human race and showcases the spirit that we all have.
Wow. And while you speak, it like it shows that I think the foundation was so much there because the heart was the right place to make that moment happen. It is it is as honestly speaking, it is as important moment as fighting for independence, because you taught India or to start with Mumbai about how do you actually take care of your health. Take your health seriously. Your health is wealth. Don't take it for granted. And we saw Anil Ambani running. We saw all the Gulpanag and Milind Soman and all those people came together. It was, I think the glamour got mixed, but with the right intent. I think that itself made a complete different indigenous experience while running, as people running in the costumes of wearing Punjabi Bhangra, like those typical Sardaji costumes and running on the streets. Or I think it just gave a different feel. I think that became the complete thing. Okay, so when you made India run starting with Mumbai, how much time actually from the now this is question from the management perspective, how much time actually you took to fix this model before moving to other cities and saying that okay, now you too can run?
So it took us a fair amount of time, Sid. And I remember the first year's gestation period was about 9 months, because we launched it in April 2003 and we delivered the first event in February 2004. So it was almost 9 months, the first, 9-10 months, the first event's gestation period. We finished 2 editions of Mumbai and then went to Delhi. So after the second edition of Mumbai, we had a semblance of systems in place and everything. And then we actually went to Delhi and opened Delhi up in 2005. We opened Bangalore in 2008, Calcutta in 2014, etc. So yeah, it took us a fair amount of time, even today, because the scale of the event is so large. We have something like, I think, over over about 1,500 to 2,000 people who work on, about 2,000 people that work directly on the event. And so all that took its time, but yeah, then Delhi opened up and it became another big story there.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great platform, as I said. It made people run, and now the marathon has gone to the triathlon. The people are in India
Yes.
running Ironmans now. I
Oh
think
yes.
that
Oh
is
yes.
that is something. And finally, we had one in Goa 2 years back.
Yes, we had 70.3 in Goa. Yeah.
Yeah, half. So it was so good to see that. So Vivek, I had the one question. When, as you said, the Stand Chart believed in you for so many, and now Tata is associated, and TCS, Wipro, Infosys, all of them are big with San Francisco, London, New York, Boston, everywhere.
Yes.
So what is the thing that these people look into when they invest into a mass property?
It's very interesting, and I'll go back to Standard Chartered Bank for a minute. Standard Chartered Bank actually changed their glow. At one time, they were the largest sponsors of marathon in the world. They had something like 9 races under their belt. And they actually changed their global philosophy based on their sponsorship of marathons. They had many campaigns, but the longest campaign they had is during those years when they were sponsoring 9 marathons. The campaign of Standard Chartered Bank globally was Here for Good. And that kind of, encapsulated everything that the sponsor wants to convey through a marathon. He really wants to convey that I'm here for good. Now look at Tata's. They've been such wonderful sponsors. They came on board in 2018. So they've done 18, 19, 20, and then we could not do the 21 edition. They've been such one. They come in with the right spirit, the right ethos. They're saying, we are from India. We have our headquarters in Mumbai. We are going to be a part of something that drives the city's fabric for different, I remember John Abraham at one time, many years, our event ambassador, face of the event.
Yeah.
He actually said when he came to the first time and he was on that stage and people were passing, he says, I know that it takes a whole city to work together to deliver a marathon, which is so true. We can't do this. The city owns the event. We can't do this in isolation. How the government of Maharashtra, the Mumbai police, the municipal corporation, all of this forces come together. He says, I wish what I see on one day of the year could happen on 365 days of the year. Yeah. That people come together like this, the city works together like this. And that's the beauty of a mass participation event. It showcases the best of humanity. It showcases the best of the administration. It showcases the best of what we can be.
Yeah, and that is so true. It's just one thing I want to talk about. I think that's the only platform where one of the richest man in India to the most good-looking person in India to a differently abled person and somebody who is from the street, from living in the humble background. I think everybody gets one single platform to be at one single stage.
Absolutely. When you're towing, there's a saying, when you tow that start line of a marathon, all your differences disappear. Yes. And you've got that one goal is that this is my time, this is the practice I've been doing, and I want to reach that finish. I want to see that finish line. And that is so beautiful because all your differences just kind of disappear totally. And the marathon doesn't recognize your caste, your creed, your color, your religion. It just recognizes. And you know what actually inspires us every year? There are many sporting events, right? There will be 1 winner, 2 winners, 3 winners. In mass participation races and races like the marathon, we have thousands of winners. Yeah. As long as you have completed your distance in the time that you have set for yourself, you've got a gold medal in your heart. You don't care if the Kenyan or Ethiopian, is being felicitated on the podium. And that's what actually drove Anil and me when we were on the start line of the 2003 London Marathon, where we drew our inspiration from. We saw the elderly, we saw grandmothers, mothers, fathers, lawyers, doctors, and we saw this look in their eyes, which said that for the next few hours, I am not your mother, father, grandfather. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your lawyer. I am an athlete. And you see that look in their eyes. We have seen that look, so we know it. We've seen it in all professional sports. We've been in professional sports for 34 years, but we've not seen it in amateur sports. We will see it at the start line of a marathon. And it's such a precious look. It just says for the next few hours, I don't care what my relationship with you is. I am an athlete. And if I finish this race in the targeted time, I have won the gold medal.
Yes.
And that's why we give a medal to every person that finishes.
Yeah. There are no losers.
Yeah.
You're winning something.
They're winners.
Yes, it's excellent. So Vivek, while there's so much to talk about the marathons or running event, but Procam also being a sports management company has various interesting events like speedboats and other things. So what keeps you going with looking after these different things and which are unusual?
You just look around you, 7,000 kilometers of a coastline and so little happening on its side. 7,000 kilometers. There can be entertainment, there can be sports, there can be cultural activities. Nothing is happening. So we are saying through the power of sport, can we bring the attention to our coastlines? Can we create that symbiotic bond that exists between a human being and the sea? Can we enrich that in some way? That's how the P1 World Championships was born. We held it in 2017 in Mumbai. It's a great dream. It's a big event, and I'm sure it'll come back. At that time, I don't know whether you remember, Sid, I don't know where you were exactly at that time, but we had 12 of the best navigators, 12 of the best pilots, and we had 6 teams. We had 12 of the best boats come to compete in Mumbai.
Yes.
And we put up this course, which is marked by red and yellow buoys across the entire Marine Drive Bay area, creating the largest on-water course in the world. There's a Guinness Book of World Records in that name. 5.6 kilometers of course on the water. And we had these 12 boats compete. It was simply amazing. People couldn't believe these are images coming out of the Marine Drive Bay in Mumbai.
Yeah.
So it's, you just look around you see the opportunity and you say, man, maybe the power of sport can make a difference.
Yes. And I think that's where I'm going to pick my next question to you about the power of sports that can make a difference. What is you and Anil, when you started and where you are today, it's like, what's your vision towards being India's sporting nation?
So, we had many vision. We're a 34-year-old company, so we had many vision and mission statements. And now slowly we are bringing that down to a more platform that is us. And we are changing the vision and mission of Procam. So we had this whole thing about being international, being world-class, creating world-class sporting properties, creating world-class opportunities for sponsors and brands to associate with, all fantastic. But we are now distilling that to a very simple and humane vision statement. And that is to make people happy through an engaged and active lifestyle. Whatever drives you, Sid, if it's trekking in the Himalayas that drives you, great. If it's river rafting that drives you, great. If it's cycling that drives you, great. If it's ultra marathons that drive you, great. If it's walking that drives you, great. How do we make people happy? Through an engaged and active lifestyle. So we are now kind of pivoting the company's mission and vision towards this and seeing how we can be a platform for people to be happy doing what they want to do, as long as they stay active and they stay engaged.
Excellent. And will that convert very much into India being a sporting nation? We always hide behind the fact that we are not a sporting nation, but I think it's too much that we're hiding.
Absolutely true. It's changing. I know in one big paradigm called running, there are 700 people that new people that lace up and run every day. 700 newcomers to distance running every day. Somewhere a walker is lacing up and saying, I'm running. Somewhere a housewife is lacing up and saying, I'm running. Somewhere a parent is lacing up and saying, enough of my responsibilities, I'm running every day for me. So what are we doing here? We're empowering people. We saw that in Delhi. The first year, the first couple of years, women didn't run. It was crazy. We were going crazy. And we got the help of so many Gul Panag and so many others. We said, you guys have to come and run here. People, the women don't run in Delhi. And today, forget run. They just taken over the capital, man.
Yeah.
What have we done? We've empowered them. You should see how women have taken to running. Housewives, teachers, all kinds of people. So that's where we are now focusing more of our energy and attention, and that's where we want to be.
Excellent. And so Vivek, just I know it's a time bound thing. You have other commitment, but just a couple of questions before we for us to close. As a pioneer in sports management, and when I say pioneer, obviously there's I can say this you are the pioneer, because nobody talked about sports management then. As a pioneer, and who actually made India run, who made India believe that sport for recreation is something that you can look after, which is going to help you with your health. What kind of legacy that you want to leave behind? There are a lot of years to go, but still, when that happens, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
I want to, what Procam has actually worked towards is a legacy in sport. So health and fitness are a byproduct of sport. What is happening today, sometimes I feel, is that parents do not understand the difference between sport and fitness. Where am I coming from? I'll just touch upon something which is maybe a little sensitive, but if your child says, I'm going to the gym, hey, I'm going to the gym 3 times a week, fabulous, God, encourage him, but that's not sport.
Yeah.
You must encourage your child that the gym routine should be a part of some reason to play sport, and sport could be a running with a group of friends, what we call our regular run groups. Sport could be any sport, from football, hockey, tennis, volleyball, badminton, whatever, rugby, whatever you like. But encourage your child to take up a sport along with fitness. Sport teaches you how to fail. You will fail repeatedly because somebody will beat you. Someday you will win, many days you will not win. Sport teaches you how to fail. Make sure your child learns how to fail. Sport teaches you how to collaborate. Make sure your child learns how to collaborate. Sport teaches you how to be, shows you that there's more to life than just, what my personal victory and my agenda and what I want. So, the chairman of Tata Sons, Mr. Chandrasekhar, said this so beautifully some time back. He says, he's a marathon runner. And he says, there are many times I go with a complex situation in my mind for my long runs. And he said, candidly, he said, if it's not worked out in my head by the time I finish my long run, there's very little chance I have to work it out in my head for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So we're inspired by these people. And we would like this culture. It's changing, it's changing in front of our eyes, thanks to various benefactors. There are so many benefactors of sport today. I mean, hats off to them. But we want this culture that a child must play sport, and the fitness regimen the child follows, whether it's going down and exercising, whether it's the gym or it's some classes, is a complement to the sport the child plays. And it doesn't matter how good or how bad he or she is. It just matters that they play.
Right.
But play as a part of a team or a group or a club or a society, they play.
Wow. And I think that is the perfect message that you can actually, anybody can take it forward. If towards the better life, I think go out and play. I think
go out and play, become part of a team, become part of a club, however small or big that is, and learn the values that sport teaches you. Learn to fail, learn to succeed, learn to be gracious in triumph, learn to be resilient in failure. What is failure? There is nothing like failure in life, as long as you're willing to get up again.
yes.
I have failed 1,000 times. I never considered one of them failures, because Anil and me were always ready to get up the next day. And as long as you can get up the next day, you have not failed. Nobody can fail. Nobody can fail you. You can lose all the money you want. You can lose all the pride and prestige. You cannot fail as long as you're willing to get up and get dressed and take on the world the next day.
I think no more, I think, encouraging word or a perfect statement that we can get to probably end today's chat. It's wonderful to hear about the whole journey, the passion, the dedication, the craziness. I think the bottom line is the craziness to make it happen. I think Vivek, it is contagious, and believe me, this as I said, this episode is a refreshment of my own masterclass that I had with you and Anil 8 to 9 years back. Thank you for your time. It was wonderful hosting you, and I wish you all the best for so many things coming and making impact towards the whole Indian ecosystem, sporting ecosystem, and making India run.
Thank you, Sid. It's good to see you again. And, it's good to see you followed your heart. Your smile gives it away that you really followed your heart. Stay well, stay blessed. Big God bless.
Thank you. Take care. Stay safe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe to our channel, Sportsy Says, and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle, Sportsy Says, across all the social media platforms and podcasts.